Welcome back to Kind Regards the show. We've all hit the snooze button, whether literally in the morning, wake up, you say, I'm going to wake up at 5 every day, I'm going to join the 5 a.m. club, it's going to be brilliant, it's going to change my life. And then 5 a.m. comes around and you go, boy, I am snoozy. So you reset the alarm for 7 or 9 or 11 or whatever time you wake up. But we've also done this with other practices. I'm supposed to personally be stretching every day, which I haven't done in months. um, Meditating every day. Working on the creative project regularly. Whatever the thing is that we're trying to do, we've all flaked. We've all flaked. If we all just jumped on the bandwagon, oh, what a great idea! I'll just do it now. Ping, and we just stepped onto the you know the habit of this new potential life that we're going to live. Things would be very easy for us, and yet it's not that way. We get on the wagon and we fall off the wagon, or I don't know which way around it is, but we falter. We are imperfect beings, and it's easy when this happens to get in a mind state of justification. I personally I haven't been making videos for a long time. Perhaps you've noticed, perhaps you haven't, and it's easy for me to go like, oh well, I've been so busy. I wasn't in the headspace, or with meditation, my deep intuition has been telling me that I need to get all this other stuff done. Flossing is a jip. I shouldn't. I'm not flossing because it's BS and I don't need to. But and this is okay because it kind of lets us off the hook, a little bit. Instead of going, oh, I'm such a piece of garbage, I don't follow through on my commitments. These justifications allow us to say like, hey, all right, I had these reasons. There's some kind of a system at play that says this is why I didn't do the thing. So it's kind of out of my hands. It's a bit of a abdication of our responsibility, which if we're too hard on ourselves, that can be quite nice, right? To say like, I'm not always this free being who is choosing to be, a pathetic weasel. Sometimes the world brings that out of me. That's kind of nice. But the problem is, well, one problem with these justifications are, what if they don't hold? What if they fall apart and they don't stand up to scrutiny? What if a contradictory truth emerges and undermines them? Then where are we? And if these justifications fail to satisfy, or the contradictory ideas feel more satisfactory, like, oh, maybe I am just a pathetic weasel, maybe the world doesn't push me around, maybe I let it push me around, or what does it matter anyway? Why am I, it's not that flossing is a jip, it's that who cares, everything's decaying, and what's the point in keeping my teeth when I'm going to die one day anyway? What if these ideas take over? What if the justifications fail to satisfy? What do we do then? And I guess what I would like to say to you, or offer you as an idea that you can take on if it is helpful, is that we can forget about the justifications wholesale. We actually don't need them at all. There is an alternative to understanding the past and why things worked out the way they did, and why we stopped flossing, or why we stopped making videos for all that time, which is that it's all gone. It's all in the past anyway. We've already said bon voyage, and we cannot go back there. We actually don't need to go back there to get to where we're going. It can be helpful sometimes to go, yeah, maybe if I am overworked, then it's hard for me to find time or space to do this thing. That can be helpful. But we actually don't need to do that. We don't have to find justifications, which also imply that if we sort out the future, if we make sure that we're never overworked, or if we make sure that we always meditate after work, then I'll stretch every day. The implications of the justifications are that we can get it all right, that we can perfect the method and have all the right outcomes, which is, I think, obviously untrue. life is always a little bit new and a little bit crazy and chaotic. It's arguably always completely new, but our experience of it is that it's always evolving a little bit all the time, and this means that any kind of system, all these justifications will eventually fall down because they cannot be eternal truths. It doesn't fundamentally, it doesn't matter why we fall off or why we snooze. What matters is that the past and the future is wide open. You know, what we can do is we can forgive ourselves and move forward. You know, we can forgive ourselves and return to the present. There's a quote by Simone Weil which runs somewhat along the lines of this: I am not that which I imagine myself to be. I am not that which I imagine myself to be. To know this is forgiveness. To understand that we are not who we think we are, you know, that we are often going to let ourselves down when we compare ourselves to our imagined self. You know, the guy who writes in his diary every night, I'm going to get up at 5 and then I'm going to exercise and then I'm going to meditate and then I'm going to have a shower and then I'm going to write for 3 hours. That's who we imagine ourselves to be. But we are not that. We cannot be all that we hope for ourselves. And that's the only piece of knowledge that we need in order to forgive ourselves, to let our past selves be, and that's okay, and that we can then step into the future and, well, step into the present and act as best we can where we are. And what this allows us to do is kind of slow down. You know, when we don't have all of the past to analyze and justify, and we don't have the future to, you know, incessantly plan and, oh, okay, if that's how I failed in the past and this is how I'll succeed in the future, by ridding ourselves of you know, of those priorities and all the thinking patterns, which are endless, by the way. You can endlessly analyze, as I'm sure you've done in your own life if you're anything like me. You can endlessly ruminate on the past and endlessly ruminate on the future and how it's going to be and how I'm going to control it and grasp it and squeeze all the juice out. When we step out of that infinite imagination of past and future, we return to the present. That's all that's left. All that's left is here. And we're not smothering the present moment with the past and the future, both of which are out of our hands, both of which don't really matter compared to the only moment that we're ever in, which is now. And this opens us up. You know, it takes a bit of pressure off, and it allows us to just do the next thing that needs to be done. You know, to just get on the mat and meditate. Now is a moment, and I'm not in the middle of something, you know. So I could actually do a 10-minute meditation now, and it wouldn't destroy my whole day. It wouldn't be chaos. You know, I don't have to set up the conditions. Well, you know, first I have to exercise, then I have to meditate. No, just get on the mat. You know, just sit down and do the artistic project. You know, do the creative project that you need to do. Just send the email that you're putting off. You know, we don't need to set up all these conditions always. If we've returned to the present moment, we grant ourselves this kind of freedom and spaciousness by relinquishing the past and the future, and we can just step into the next meaningful thing to do in our lives. Yeah, and I think that is the process. That's a solid process, and the outcomes of that process are a little bit out of our hands. You know, the email might not be received well, the stretching might not feel that good. You know, we might pull a muscle or something. We stepping into the present moment and doing the next most meaningful thing that we can sort of step into doesn't guarantee us, you know, this perfect life where everything works out as planned. But I do think that it's the right process, and that is the way that we gradually move towards, you know, spending our time most wisely. You know, relinquishing, as I've said, relinquishing the future planning and trying to optimize and make everything right in the future. The past, you know, analysis and justification and you know, this happened because of that, so now I have to manipulate the future. When we relinquish all of that, we are left with a kind of freedom in the moment to just step into the next thing. And forgiveness, I think, is a big part of that process, letting ourselves off the hook, not with justification, but with just pure, okay, yeah, I'm not what I hope that I am always, and that's okay. I'm okay even though perhaps I fall off these practices. Perhaps I can't get through a whole week of meditating 10 minutes a day. Maybe that's really hard for me, or maybe I haven't submitted an assessment on time this whole semester, or whatever. That's okay. I'm not my imagined perfect self. All right. But I am here. I am here and I have a choice, and I can step in and do the next thing that needs to be done. I hope that's helpful to you. I hope that's a useful thing. This has been Kind Regards to the show. There's a Substack link below and a YouTube and Spotify link. The Substack is where I write articles that are a bit lengthier than these. They're rare. You read them, and yeah, they're a bit more thorough, and they have quotes and draw from literature and philosophy and things like that. I haven't written any in a while, but there's a big doozy, a 5,500 word doozy coming up, ironically about simplicity. So get a load of that if you like that kind of thing. The link is below. And if you'd like to listen instead of watch, or watch instead of listen, there are YouTube and Spotify links below, so you can get the content how you like it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope this is useful for you. If it's not, thanks for sticking with it anyway, and hopefully the next one will resonate a little bit more. But all the best with whatever you got to do today. Yeah, I hope the day is fruitful, and I hope you enjoy it. Yeah, thanks very much for being with me. It's good to be here. Thanks.